no pain, no gain is a common thing we say in working out, but it
Hmm.
applies in your diet as well. Okay. If you're not hungry
Yeah.
a little bit, you're not making gains, right?
Okay.
You've got to be willing to be a little hungry
Right.
if
Yeah.
you want to make gains.
We're amazing, aren't we? That like, I mean, I could go months and months and months and realize I don't think I was ever hungry. Hi, and welcome to the Made to Matter podcast. And this is a special episode. This is our Extraordinary Stories episode where we unpack midlife transformation in men and to really unpack these stories, decode what transformation looks like, and really explore all different sorts of topics. So today I'm really excited to have Larry Conn with us today, who's going to tell you about his transformation story. Larry, great to have you on the pod. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, Adam. Great to be here.
Yeah. All right. Well, so Larry, let's just kick it off, and this is a conversation. This is really for people to hear your story, and I'm excited for you to tell it. And so, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself first, so to give us some context, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, so we live here in Greenville, South Carolina, with my wife of 31 years, and we have a daughter who's 18 at the University of Georgia right now, and it's just been a time with of where a before situation with Larry was a much heavier and much more out of shape person than I am now, to the point of where medicines were being used and crutches were being used, and all of a sudden, one day, I've had enough, and so that's kind of where we are today. Yep.
Okay. And when you say heavy, when did that start? Did you get heavier later in life, or was it?
Yeah. Well, I've never actually been a thin guy, right? Even in high school, grade school, I was always a little bit chubby, right? I would never been somebody who would ever be described as skinny, and so and I was never someone who ate dessert, right? I was never somebody who ate a lot of ice cream or cake or cookies or anything like that. That was never a sweet tooth, but I always liked hamburgers and macaroni and cheese and mashed potatoes and biscuits and whatever it was else, that it was. So, and
So it was like meat. It was like meat and potatoes.
yeah, I'm a meat and potatoes kind of guy, right? And just over time, it just slowly would pack on pounds. It wasn't like it was like this time where I got, it was a bad vacation or a bad time of life. It was just a slow progression to getting heavier and heavier. And by the way, I have always worked out. This is not a question of being inactive. I have always, hit the weight some. I have always run a little bit. I've always been, active in some kind of sports. I'd play a pickup basketball game with people. I'd play tennis. It was whatever. It wasn't like I was inactive, but I certainly didn't pay any attention to what I ate.
Yeah. Okay. And so as a kid growing up, how did that feel? Were there limitations because of your weight?
I don't know if it would be limitations, but it would be certainly just, I would always be one who is never wanting to take my shirt off, right? So if it was a shirts versus skins high school basketball game, I was praying I was on the shirts, right? Because it was just like not what I wanted to do, was take my shirt off. It was that kind of a thing. Was I ever excluded because of it? No. Was I, locker room poking fun? Maybe a little bit, but nothing more than anybody else had to deal with. So nothing bad like that.
Okay. So there wasn't bullying around this or nicknames?
No, not at all. And I would not have backed down from a bully. I mean, I would have, it would have been a fight if I got bullied. I wasn't weak, but I was just kind of chubby.
Yeah. Okay. Now, as Americans, we tend to underestimate what overweight is versus what obese is. And I don't know if you know that. I don't have the technical, but I know it's a lot less than we think.
Oh my gosh. It's amazingly less than we think.
Yeah.
If you ever look up like what the standards were for like to be in the military in like the 40s or 50s versus what they are today, or what the BMI recommendations are for your weight, it will probably shock most people. Most people say there's no way that's the normal. You know,
Yeah.
they'll believe for sure that they are, closer to normal than they think.
Yeah. Yeah. I think for my weight and my height, I'm supposed to be 178 pounds. And right
Okay.
now I'm like a little over 190, and I'm probably at like my healthiest weight I've ever been. And if I was 178, I'd be a skeleton, I would feel
Yeah. You think that, okay. Until you get to those weights, right? And then all of a sudden you're like, well, this isn't so bad,
like.
you
Oh.
know?
All right, so
And
you're saying I got some room to go if I want to.
listen, I'm not talking about anybody else but myself today. Right?
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Well, I have some room to go, but I'm feeling pretty good.
absolutely.
Weight,
Yeah.
my fighting weight. Okay. So I guess what my question was with that was, by that definition, do you think you were obese, or do you think you were heavy or overweight?
I'm obese I was obese at that time by the strict definition, right?
Yes.
Because for my height, I weighed about 195 at my height back there, and obese would be anything above 192.
Oh, okay. So you were barely over.
But in there by the term, I was absolutely obese. Yep.
Yeah. In today's standard, that might have been your average.
Yeah.
Or,
No, yeah. So absolutely, I was. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. All right. So you go. You're big. You're feeling big bone, but you're not feeling. It's not limiting you. Yeah. You have a little self consciousness, in high school and stuff.
Right. Right.
Did it get worse? Did it what did it get to? And then what was the catalyst that you're like saying, you know what, I'm not going to do this anymore?
Yeah. So, over time, it's just slowly drifting up, right? So you go from, maybe you're 170 something in high school and a little overweight till you start, and all of a sudden, back maybe in like 2017, I am 195. I've got a 38-inch waist, and every time I go to sleep at night, I'm snoring. I mean, it's just not, Monica's waking me up in the middle of the night saying, hey, you're snoring again, and that's making her not get good sleep. It's making me not get good sleep. So, at that time, it was just to the point of, I was thinking, okay, well, this is not good, right? I went to the doctor, and for your regular checkup, because nothing was wrong, but your regular checkup, and he tells me, you know what, you need to be on blood pressure medication. He said, but don't worry. He said, I'm just going to start you off with a small dose. I have people in their 20s that are on this. It's not a big deal. But you need to be on blood pressure medication because.
Have you been on any other medication before?
None at all.
Oh, right? Okay.
So this is 2017, and I go to the doctor, and after the labs, he recommends that I, be on blood pressure medication.
Okay. And so, what? How did you feel when he recommended that?
At the time, I just kind of felt like, well, I guess this is normal, right? He assured me that it was normal, that it was just something that happens as you get older. He's got people in their 20s on this, so not really that big a deal, right?
Yeah. Okay. So you went home, like, oh well, that sucks, but that's normal.
Exactly that, right? Took the prescription, got it filled, took the medicine, went about with my life, right?
Okay. And to give people context, is the picture I have, is that about where we're talking about 2017?
Yeah, if you could put that up there, that would show about this time of my life. It's about that time of life.
Okay. All right. So just to give the audience, we'll have a before and after, and how much do you think you weighed here?
I think I probably weigh about 195. I'm just a little bit short of 200 pounds, and I'm only 5'7".
And was that 5'7", 195? And was that is that the height of your weight? You think?
Yeah, that's about as heavy as I can remember. I don't remember ever getting over 200.
Yeah,
I don't remember that.
Okay. And how did you feel at Wait, again, was this just sort of like normal? This is how your life,
No, I knew I was overweight, but it
Mhm.
didn't really bother me, right? I think that I feel good. I think that I do.
Okay.
Okay. And I feel like I should probably lose 10 pounds. That's what's in my head. If I could lose 10 pounds, I'm sure I'd be in good shape, right? I'm sure that would move me from a 38 waist to a 36 waist. And I think to myself, I'll be happy with that, and so that's my mindset at that time.
And had you tried? Did you have diet attempts or?
Oh, of course. Yeah, I would try, the Atkins diet one year. I would try low fat, calorie restriction. I'd have all these little attempts at losing the weight, and most of the time they would work. But as soon as I stopped doing that, it would come right back. Right?
Yeah. So yeah, they say what you actually end up gaining more weight when you do diets or people do. Did you experience that or did you just sort of go back to
Yeah.
this?
I mean, just because the general progression we talked about, right? I would lose a little bit of weight on this diet for however many months I stayed on it,
Yeah.
and then once I stopped doing exactly that, it would come back plus some.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I don't want you to answer it yet, but I'll be interested to know why this one stuck, and I think our audience will too. So,
Sure.
okay, so you go home, your blood pressure medicine. Yeah. What's next?
All right. So that was about 2017, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's fast forward to 2020. And I actually looked this up. It was in January 2nd, 2020. I went and had a doctor's appointment after labs test the previous week or whatever. And I come to the doctor's office and he says, "Hey, I need to up your blood pressure medicine a little bit." He goes, "And I want to start you on a statin." Okay.
Ah, okay, another
So,
drug.
so it's just, and I'm like, okay. And I'm a little concerned, but he's like, listen, it's not a big deal. At your age, lots of people are on this. And so I take the prescription. He sends it over to Walgreens or wherever it was at the time. And interesting at that point, I told you I do like to work out, and I still worked out. So I went from the doctor's appointment home, got changed, and went to the gym. And at the gym, there was a friend of mine who was also working out there. And I said, "Hey," he's like, "Hey, how you doing, Larry?" And I said, "Well, I just left the doctor's office, and the doctor wants to put me on a statin. And I'm in sales, right? So I'm trained to notice nonverbal cues. And he had this very quick little grimace. Okay, it was a real quick grimace, and he didn't say anything for like a second or two, and then he said, "God, why do you think your liver's making all that cholesterol?" Right? He asked me the question.
Hmm.
And
I
I
didn't know
didn't.
livers. I didn't know livers make
Well, I
cholesterol.
didn't either at that time. I didn't even know the liver made cholesterol, and I didn't know the purpose of cholesterol. I didn't know anything about it. Right? I was just going to take this medicine the doctor gave me because he said I was supposed to. And he's the doctor. He's the expert. He's the one I should be trusting with these decisions. Right? I don't know. I don't even know what cholesterol is. So he says to me, he goes, "Look," he said, "I want to recommend a book to you." He said, "It's called How Not to Die." Okay,
Oh, catchy
by
title.
Dr. Greger was his name.
Okay.
And so, I'm feeling kind of, so I pull up my Amazon app and I order the book and it comes to the house or whatever. Now, this same month, okay, I have to go to a trade show in Las Vegas. And so I'm, getting ready for this thing. I'm going to go to work. But the good news is at this trade show, while I'm in town, Aerosmith has a residency. Okay.
Oh,
And so I'm excited because I get to go see Aerosmith in Las Vegas at this trade show, right?
what's a residency? Like,
A residency is like where they'll do like 10 or 12 shows
yeah.
all in one location, back like
Okay.
usually every night for a while, maybe for like a week or two, and then
Yeah.
they're done. Okay.
Okay.
So they don't have to
Like only
travel.
only happens in Vegas, basically. Is that right?
I think I'm sure they do it other places.
Big.
Like Branson, Missouri would be another place you'd have a residency,
Okay.
things like that. But
Yeah.
this was where Aerosmith was, and I was excited that it was right during my trade show. So I was going to get to go see Aerosmith because I hadn't seen them before, and I was going with a coworker, and so I check into, I bring my upper dose medicine, my upper dose blood pressure medicine with me, but I don't bring the statin. But for whatever reason, I didn't bring it, and I check into my hotel. And it's, wasn't the nicest Vegas hotel. It was just kind of gross or whatever. But I don't care. I'm there to work, But after the first night I check in there, I noticed that I'm itchy.
Oh.
Okay, like I itch, and so I look down and I feel like I've got these little like bite marks on me. I said, "Oh no, okay, I have gotten like scabies or something from this nasty hotel room, or bed bugs or scabies," and I'm like freaking out. All right, so I get on my phone. I use one of those like Teledoc or Doctor on Demand, one of those things, and I freak out with this doctor and I demand they give me like this scabies cream so I can get rid of this. Right, so she gives it to the pharmacy, and I run to the pharmacy in Vegas and I pick up this cream and I cover my body in it, and I'm like driving myself crazy with this because I itch and I'm worried that I'm going to like infect a coworker, or what if I'm at the Aerosmith concert and Steven Tyler walks up to me and I give scabies to him? Like, this is the kind of mindset I'm in, right? I'm like, I've got this horrible mindset because I feel like I'm itching and I know I've got these scabies bug.
What if Larry killed Aerosmith?
Yeah, wouldn't that be something? Because they're kind of shaky. They were kind of shaky then anyway, right? Getting older. Yeah.
It could take them down.
Yeah. So I'm at the trade show and working, and it's bothering me, right? I'm not at my best because I've got this in the back of my head and I'm itchy. It doesn't feel good. I go to the concert and I can't even really fully enjoy it or focus on it because I'm just itchy and I don't feel good, right? So I'm worried about it. And so I get done with the trade show, done with Las Vegas, fly back, and I immediately go to my dermatologist that I know, who's a friend of mine. And I, show her, and she's looking at me, and I said, help me get rid of these scabies. This medicine this person gave me isn't helping. And she looks at me and she goes, you don't have scabies. I said, well, what is it? She goes, you're having an allergic reaction. I said, an allergic reaction to what? And she said, I don't know what it is, but it's probably something you're putting in your body every day. Okay. Now, at this point, I'm not sure what this is, but all of a sudden it dawns on me. It's this blood pressure medication. Okay. Like, he upped the dose or changed it a little bit or whatever, and I'm having an allergic reaction to this thing. Okay.
Okay.
And
so you don't want to be on it in the first place, and then now you start.
The voice that popped into my head right then in this doctor's office was, this is all your fault, and this is all within your control.
No.
That's exactly what it was in my head. It popped in my head right then. This is all your fault, and it's all within your control.
Now, had you been reading how to not die
No,
yet?
Hadn't cracked it. It's at the house.
Wait.
Have not touched this. Have not touched the book.
Okay.
So I immediately come home from this thing angry at myself that I have let myself get this fat, let myself, be on medication. And I start thinking to myself, okay, so I've got a blood pressure medication there. I've got a statin there. I'm snoring all the time. What's next? Am I moving to the spare bedroom? All right. Am I getting a CPAP machine? Like, what is the next thing I'm going to tolerate?
Right.
Okay. Before I do something about this.
So
now I've ruined
ruined
an Aerosmith concert, right? So,
You what?
I've ruined an Aerosmith concert.
Okay.
Okay. So what else am I going to put up with?
Were you able to go to the Aerosmith concert?
Yeah, I went there, but I was just itchy the whole time,
Okay.
and it ruined it.
So you didn't get to enjoy it.
Yeah. So
So Larry, I picture you like on a conveyor belt of. You felt like you're on a conveyor belt of like you're gonna get the next medicine, you're gonna get the next device, you're gonna get the next to treat this.
Yeah. And like, where does it stop? How much of this am I going to tolerate? Okay. And I said, I'm not going to tolerate any of it. Okay. So I picked up the How Not to Die book and I read it cover to cover.
Oh, wow.
Okay. And this is a vegetarian, vegan kind of author. Okay. Like he is very much a plant-based diet person. And I am not. Okay. Never have been.
Meat and potatoes.
Am still not. Right. But he opened my eyes to a lot of things I didn't know about food and how it works with your body, right? And there are foods that are very cholesterol fighting. There are foods that lower blood pressure. There are drinks that lower blood pressure. There are all kinds of things you can do to adjust what's happening in your body based on what you eat, right? So I felt like my eyes were open to a new way of living life, right? A new way of being. And so I started to create a plan for myself. And I wanted to create a lifestyle change. It wasn't a diet. It wasn't going to be Atkins. It wasn't going to be low calorie. It wasn't going to be, calorie restriction. It was going to be, what am I doing diet wise from here? Right. I
Well,
already
okay,
work out.
let's
Yeah.
let's put a pin in this real quickly. This seems
Yeah.
important. For whatever reason, this book's philosophy, like
Yep.
that seemed true to you, or that seemed like, oh my gosh, this makes so much sense. How would you describe it?
The combination of the person who recommended it
Mm-hmm.
and the book's philosophy.
Okay.
Okay. And the time that I needed something. Okay. Uh, all hit me at the same time, at the right time. Right. So
Okay.
what I needed was a way to lose weight, lower my blood pressure, lower my cholesterol.
Right.
And the book had all the answers to those things.
Okay. So there was a guide, if
There
you
was.
will, who showed up in your life at just the right time, and he handed you the Bible, or
That's right.
the
Right.
magical scroll, or
Right.
whatever it was. Okay.
That's right. And this friend is a very, uh, he's a very plant-based kind of person. He's in very good shape, very out, and so that was his recommendation meant a lot.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. And so I came up with a plan from this book and from what I knew that I could do. And it was really, really simple. I wasn't going to eat any processed food anymore. Okay. If it was something that was a cracker or a chip or anything that was processed and put together, I was not going to eat it. And the second thing I wasn't going to eat was sugar. Now, I already told you I don't eat dessert. So I'm not talking about that kind of sugar. I'm talking about the sugar that's in bread and processed foods that we all don't realize are there.
Yeah, I was going to say there's sugar in bread.
Lots, right? And so I was just, at this time, I was just avoiding sugar any way I could.
Okay.
And I was avoiding processed food.
Did the book say that sugar is the devil, or what?
Yeah, the book's not doesn't want sugar. Now it's fine with it if you eat it in food, like you eat strawberries or fruit,
natural,
but not processed out and eating sugar, right?
Okay.
Yeah, and it's hidden in everything. It's hidden in various different ways. So I was just going to avoid sugar and I was going to avoid processed food. Those are basically my rules that I started with, right? So instead of eating a bowl of cereal, processed cereal, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was going to eat a bowl of organic oatmeal with fruit on it, okay? Or I would eat eggs. These are very simple, non-processed things,
Right.
and I would avoid anything that was, in a box.
Okay.
And
how was that hard for you to do, to change to that diet?
There's, at first, yes, because there are addictions, right? And sugar is a very addicting substance and it robs you of so much. I didn't realize that until I got through this, but there's something that I've realized is, I think about this in life in general, but no pain, no gain is a common thing we say in working out, but it applies in your diet as well. Okay. If you're not hungry a little bit, you're not making gains, right?
Okay.
You've got to be willing to be a little hungry.
Right. Yeah. We're amazing, aren't we? That I could go months and months and months and realize I don't think I was ever hungry.
Yeah.
Because because we have access to food all the time.
That's right. That's right.
Okay. And so you started to get used to, hey, there's a little hunger, and that's a good thing.
And that's okay.
Yes.
Right. And that's okay. And if you read the book, you can eat basically all the vegetables you want, right? There's no way you can make yourself gain weight eating broccoli and sweet potatoes or something. So say it's not going to happen. You will be full, what I'm saying, but you're not going to gain weight doing that. And so, I learned, basically how to train my body to stop craving sugar. And I didn't know I craved sugar because I didn't eat dessert.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? But you do. You crave it.
So even if you're not a sweet tooth, You
sugar.
still could be addicted to sugar, not even know.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's in everything. And then what's so amazing about that is once you get unaddicted to sugar, the food that you didn't think you liked tastes delicious. Sweet potatoes to me taste like dessert. They are so sweet
Yeah.
because I don't eat sugar, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And I can eat almost any vegetable, which I didn't used to love, tastes delicious to me now because my brain was wired to want that high sugar content taste. And then once I've been detoxed from that, other regular food tastes delicious.
Yeah.
And
So you went from processed food and your sugar, and you went. I mean, it sounds like you went really organic.
Organic, if I can, so I try to buy organic, but it's mostly just real food, right?
Or
I
clean. Clean is probably the better term.
I don't even have a term for it, but it's just one ingredient, right? Like chicken, okay,
Right.
potato,
Yeah.
rice. These are things, not rice-a-roni that comes out of a box with other chemicals in it. Like simple things.
So, what part of the book didn't you do? Obviously the vegan.
He's a vegetarian and vegan, okay, and so he doesn't eat any meat at all, any animal. So he gets all his protein from plant proteins and things like that.
Okay.
That I don't do. I eat a lot of protein. I eat protein all the time. Like I will eat, and I'm pretty indiscriminate about it. I'll eat shrimp, salmon, pork, steak, chicken, whatever I find at the store that's the deal, I'll usually buy it. Like that just kind of keeps me in the rotation.
Okay. So by the way, when was this? So you said January 2020.
Right. Yep.
So
this is right after I get back. This is February of 2020.
Okay. So this is before the pandemic, is that right?
It is.
Yeah.
It is. It's before COVID. Yep.
Okay. And then COVID hit. Did that not throw you for a loop, or?
All that did was help because I went from being somebody who was a nonstop road war kind of traveler to somebody stuck at home. Okay.
Oh.
Now I'm stuck at home. Okay. I can control everything I eat. I'm not eating at restaurants at all. Right. I'm off the road. So all my sales calls now are just like this on Zoom. Okay. So I am eating nothing. I am easy for me to stick to this diet.
Yeah. I mean, COVID was not nice to a lot of people in terms of weight gain, and a lot of people struggled with it. So could that have been like your savior, that like COVID came and you're like, sweet, I can double down on this diet?
It helped. It was no doubt made it so much easier for me to eat healthy. Yeah. I had no excuse.
All right, that's cool. All right, so. Were there temptations? Was there cheating? Was there, what did that look like?
Yeah, there's always setbacks, right?
Yeah.
I'm not going to say that, every once in a while you just didn't fall off the wagon and go eat something you were not supposed to, right? Yeah. Right. Somebody makes a big plate of nachos and you just can't resist it, right? You fall back into eating a bunch of chips that you wouldn't normally have eaten,
Right.
Or whatever, or somebody's birthday and there was, something you wouldn't normally eat, but you were eating that or whatever. Yeah. But as a general rule, no, that decision I made to get off these pills, that was it. That was the final thing.
Was that the driving force to get off the pills, or did you have any weight goals?
I had no weight goals at first. Okay. My first goal was to get off this medicine, right? It ruined Aerosmith. Okay.
Right. And you do not ruin it. In your world, that doesn't happen.
That doesn't happen. I want out, right? So I wanted off any medication that was required, right? So I wanted to be out of no cholesterol, no blood pressure meds, right? And then second of all, I had a goal that I wanted 36-inch pants to fit comfortably. Okay. I wanted them to fit comfortably. Wasn't trying to be anything like super shocking with the weight, but I just wanted it to fit comfortably, right? That was kind of like the goal. Yeah.
So you almost had your 10-pound goal thing still in mind.
Yeah, exactly. Because I just still thought that was all it was going to take. Yeah. Right.
So if I eat a little healthy, I can probably lose those 10 pounds I was willing to use, and I don't have the medicine, and I'm all right. I'm good.
Yeah.
So obviously you got to that point.
Right.
but
Right.
you kept going.
Well, certain things start happening, right? So this is where it's what's interesting. All of a sudden, the food that was tough to eat, like we talked about, was easy to eat. It tasted great. All right, I'm no longer addicted to this, and so eating this way will allow me to keep losing weight without trying. Right? If this is what I'm going to do, I am going to keep losing weight. Right? So I lose weight and lose weight. Every time I lose weight, I feel a little bit better. Right?
Why did you want to keep losing weight?
I wasn't necessarily trying to, but the diet that I'm eating is making me lose weight because I'm just not eating bad things.
Did you start to feel better? Did you? I mean, certainly you've been this body shape for almost your whole life. Did you start going, wait a minute?
That's right. And so all of a sudden I'm feeling better, right? I thought I felt good when I was 195 pounds. I thought I did, but I didn't know how to feel any other way, right?
Yeah.
Now, all of a sudden, not snoring as much, right? I wake up in the morning and I just kind of feel good. And I didn't realize I didn't feel good, right? And then, it's not just, I mean, you're feeling better. I mean, everything's better. What you do, sex feels better. Everything feels better when you're in better shape, right? And so, as I noticed, I just kept, all of a sudden, 36 pants aren't just comfortable, they're loose, right? And I'm like, well, let's see what happens, how I feel at 34 pants, right? So just stay with the diet. I'm not changing anything. I don't mind the food I'm eating. Matter of fact, I enjoy it. And so all of a sudden, 195 is 170, right? And 34s are pretty comfortable, right? Yeah. But I'm still realizing, you take your shirt off in the mirror. You know what? How about another 10 pounds, right? What's going to happen if you lose another 10 pounds? Will you like this weight, or will you feel like you're too skinny? So years go by, you just sticking with the diet, and all of a sudden, I go to the doctor, and he's like, your cholesterol is normal again. Oh. Now, I'm not taking the statin, right? I don't need the blood pressure medicine anymore. I have good blood pressure, don't have high cholesterol, and my weight is now in the over range. Not by much, but I'm no longer obese, but I'm just over a little bit.
Okay.
Right?
So you're at what, at 170?
Like 168, 170, right?
Okay.
And so,
so 25 pounds, you've lost maybe more than 25 pounds at this point.
Right.
You're off the medicines, but you're still.
I now have a diet that I eat all the time, right? I'm basically eating the same thing every day, right? I mean,
and you're fine with that. That's not like a discipline thing.
It's not a discipline thing anymore.
I like it.
Now I prefer it.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not even a close of like, oh, not oatmeal again. I don't feel that way. It's like, now I actually prefer this meal. I'm looking forward to it. Right. Wow. So my body has a new craving, right? And it's healthy, the craving that I have, right? And so as we keep going down, I have a trade show coming back up, and I set a goal, let's see if I can get below 160. Why not? Because that will put me in the normal range. Okay. So all I do is just basically keep the same diet. The pounds slowly melt off without trying, right? And now, 34s are loose, right? 34s are loose, and 32s fit pretty comfortably. Okay. And so the picture of the after that, for this summer.
This is starting to get expensive, Larry.
What is?
Buying all these new clothes.
yeah, that's true. Actually, that part's expensive. Yeah, but you could put the after picture up there if you want to. But the guy in the picture from this last summer is about 155 pounds, and is in 32-inch pants, right? And so
this is 155.
That's right. Yep.
And 30. What did you say? Those are 32s.
Those are 32s, right? Okay. Comfortable 32s that need a belt, right?
Now, did you change? You got some muscles going on. Did you change your workout at all? Or
not really? Like I've said, I've always worked out, but when you've got that much fat, it just hides it all. right? And
Hmm.
so it's just kind of buried in there.
So you just uncovered your muscles.
Just uncovered, I don't know if I look better than I did, right? That's what we'll say. So, and I think the thing that I've heard from people, because it's shocking when people see me that haven't seen me for a while, right?
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah.
they look at me and they're like, "Wow, you've lost a lot of weight. How'd you do it?" I have found that the answer everybody hates is the truth.
Ooh.
Okay,
Okay.
which is if I say diet and exercise, everyone hates that answer.
Right.
Nobody wants to hear that. Everybody wants to hear that I went and got one of the new, GLP drugs that is the rage, and that helped me lose weight or whatever. No one wants to hear that it was diet and exercise.
Yeah.
And
You did
so
the old-fashioned way.
I don't know that there's another way, really. There's ways that um, you could take the drugs, but they might have a consequence you don't know about.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
um, so and what I always find too is when I talk to people about it, they usually bring it up. Almost everyone has an excuse. Whether it's genetics or they don't have time, or they'll say that healthy food's expensive or something like that. And I remember it always takes me back to my original self, right? I would have had an excuse too. Well, I need to lose 10 pounds, right? When the truth is, even at 155, where I am now, okay, the normal weight for somebody my height is between 118 and 159.
Wow. So you're
Okay.
technically
I could
still
lose all the way down. I could lose another 30 pounds from where I am now and still be normal.
wow. Yeah, that's amazing. All right, so you lost over 30,
Lost, yeah,
35, 37,
40 pounds.
40 pounds. So you lost 40 pounds. How long did that take from beginning to end? Or to
I would say it was, I've been this weight for a year probably. So I would say 3 years of just doing the right thing, right? It could have been a lot faster if you want it to be,
yeah.
but I was just doing the right thing and without really having to try. Okay. It was just a lifestyle change of stop doing the bad stuff. The first 10 pounds, 20 pounds comes off pretty quick. After that, it takes a while.
Okay. Yeah. So and then how have you leveled out? Did you increase your calories or just as you feel like
Yeah.
you're current?
As I'm able to now, I can increase my calories if I don't want to lose weight, right?
Hmm.
But if I eat the same thing I always do, I will still slowly gain, right? I will slowly lose. I mean, so if always eat what I do, if I don't ever go on the road, if I don't eat, I will slowly drift down in weight. I'll drift down to below 150 if I kept this up, right? Which is
Okay.
fine. So what I do now is I pretty much eat that way because I'm in the normal range. So I don't feel pressure to lose any more weight. But if I stay home for a while, don't eat out, I will lose weight. I'll go out and eat or something like that. I'll come back up to about where I am. So I try to not go above where I am right now. That's just basically my goal.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so if we break this down,
Yep.
let's think about this. If we break it, actually hold it, before we break it down, what was the impact to your family? Because now Larry is going, sort of a hardcore diet, and sometimes that can be stressful on the family. Was it, what would that look like?
At first, it was annoying to people. Okay. I'm not eating what everybody else is. I'm making
Yeah.
my own food, right?
They want pizza and you're making chicken and rice or something.
Exactly. Yeah. And I would never, I would have your pizza, have your spaghetti and meatballs, whatever you're going to do, but I'm not eating that, right? I'm going to eat this. I'm on a mission. I'm going to do this. And it was annoying. But what I did find is that over this time, okay, it's affected everyone in a positive way because everybody eats a little healthier than they did overall, and some a lot. Like if I take, my daughter, she eats the healthiest of any teenager I've seen. And I'm not taking the credit for it, but I'm saying that I think some of it is just a result of watching
Yeah.
what parents do. right?
Yeah.
And
We'll give
so,
you some credit for it. I think some credits
but
deserved.
it
Some
wasn't like
influence. Some
yeah,
influence.
maybe an influence, but it wasn't like it was like preached by me or
Yeah.
anything like that. It was just basically, watching what I do.
Yeah.
And I think that's, had a positive effect over time. Right.
Okay. And then, so amazing transformation. Has that leaked over anywhere else in your life?
Um, yes, in the sense that, um, I'm able to see a lot of things that maybe you would think, um, you can't change that you
Mm-hmm.
can, right? You have more power to do, whatever it is you want to do, right? So, you can demand something from a customer or from an employer, or you could, um, you know, reach a financial goal, or you could, negotiate a deal. These are things that it's a different mindset of, I'm just going to decide to do it, right?
Right.
And then there's good. Maybe you need a catalyst, maybe you don't, but it's more confidence to do everything, and it's also more confidence when you approach somebody physically, is that you're not fat and you look okay, you look
Mm-hmm.
presentable, and you look like because your body says a little bit about the decisions that you make, right?
Sure. Yep.
So if you are really out of shape, and it's not a medical condition of some sort, then that says something about your lifestyle and decisions that you make.
Right.
And if you're somebody who's a super gym bro, big muscles, that says something about you too, right? It means that you need a lot of time to keep that, right?
Right.
So, you make an impression with the way you look.
Okay. So it definitely had some other benefits, and it
Yeah,
changed your mindset in a way of like, hey, I can, because this is a seemingly impossible or like a goal I would imagine you never would imagine you would have gotten here probably, and like, hey, I can do this in other areas of my life.
that's right. And and it makes it so you think, you and I both like to play tennis, and it gives you confidence that hey, I can run up and get that ball. I can
Mm-hmm.
get there, or I can learn to do this. I can improve this stroke. I can play a fourth set if I need to. These are things that kind of go through your head because you've already made this. You already did the hard work. You put the work in.
Yeah, yeah, totally makes sense. All right, so I don't know if you've ever thought about it. If you were to make a recipe of this transformation, and now hearing yourself, say the story out loud,
Yeah.
what what do you think were the key points in your story?
One is stop lying to yourself, right?
Okay.
You've got to be honest with yourself about anything that you're talking about, right? But you're you're probably in denial of the fact that you have control of it, or or you're making yourself a victim of something. You may say, well, my parents are on cholesterol medication, my brother's on cholesterol medication, so I'm doomed to be on cholesterol medication, something like that. And
Yeah,
I would say, okay, that could be true, but the only way you could really say that and know is if you do your part, right? And get the weight down to where you would know for sure whether you're doomed or if it's really within your control, right?
yeah.
So you've got to do your own work first without lying to yourself,
Okay,
you
great.
know? Yeah.
And then what? Based on your story, then what happened?
And then what was helpful for me, but not, you wouldn't necessarily need this, would be some type of catalyst, right? To really move you to do it. Because it's really easy to just get stuck in a rut of whatever you're doing, right? Life happens. You got to go to work, you come home and you're tired, right? You wait, maybe you have a goal of getting up in the morning. You say, I'm going to get up and work out. And then when you wake up in the morning, you're like, oh my gosh, my back hurts. My leg hurts. It's cold out. I'm tired. I didn't sleep well. I didn't eat well. I drank too much. I ate too much. You have all these excuses that you've got to fight through to get
Yeah,
it done, right?
yeah,
So, you need sometimes you might need a catalyst like I had to really drive you through those excuses that you give yourself.
yeah. And that catalyst was the wake up with the blood pressure medicine.
It was the combination of the the Lipitor recommendation, the
Statin.
and the statin, and the Aerosmith concert getting ruined.
Yeah.
Okay, was
Okay.
just enough. to push me to the point where, like, that was my catalyst of, okay, I'm done.
Yeah. Yeah. That puts you at that level of dissonance. You're like, I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah. Right.
Okay. All right. And then what happened?
And then you got to do the work, right?
Well, no, something happened before that.
Talking about the book.
Yep.
Okay.
You had
Yeah, I
you had the good friend who you respected,
that's right.
who
I had
gave you
some,
the answers.
he gave me the answers. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah. Now, those answers were available to me well before he gave me it, right?
Yeah.
But he made it very easy for me to get them.
And
right?
he validated them.
And he validated it. That's
Yeah.
correct.
Because he was really healthy, and so he
That's right.
provided you an example of like, hey, look, I'm recommending this. You're like,
Correct.
oh.
I knew him to be a knowledgeable person about health, right?
Yeah.
So,
All right, and then do the work.
do the work for real.
Yeah, and you went all in. Like it doesn't. It sounds like you went 0 to 100. Like you didn't put your toe in the water.
No, I was done.
Is that how you do normal things? Like if you decide to do something, you're just doing it.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right,
And yeah, and so, but I mean, it's also, it's going to be hard, right? It's not going to be easy. You're going to there is no pain, no gain, and I kind of believe this in everything, right? There's really no free lunch. For every reaction, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Look at that's everything, right? If you take an aspirin because you have pain, okay, it might take the pain away, but something in your body has to process it. Something pays that price, right? For you to get rid of the pain, something else pays for it. And it's that way with weight loss or muscle gain, right? If you want bigger muscles, you've got to go through the pain of lifting heavier weights to get bigger muscles. If you want to lose weight, you've got to go through the pain of being hungry. That's what it requires. And I think you've got to come up with the idea in your head that I know this and I'm going to tolerate that pain and I'm going to get it done.
Yeah. You also, there's something else that you had that you touched on is you had a goal. And
yeah, I wanted off the meds, right?
You want to get off the meds, and as a result, you lost 10 pounds, and then you kept reestablishing your goal. You didn't like arrive and be like, okay, I'm done.
No, and now I think you're never done, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like we have a house, right? You build a house. Okay, but you've still got to work to keep those four walls around you from crumbling on you, right?
Right.
There's maintenance to do all the time, right? You get to rest for a little while, but then you've got to keep up, right? The paint starts to peel, or the foundation starts to leak. You got to do things like that. So it's like that with your body, right? You're going to have to sometimes be hungry to make sure you stay in that range that you want. You're still going to you're going to have to go run a few miles, right? You're going to have to play a few sets of tennis. You're going to have to lift some weights. You're going to have to stretch. These are things that you're going to have to do. You're never actually done where you're just like, okay, I retire from all of this.
But once you start doing them, I would imagine that this is true. Once you start doing them, you want to do them. Like you said, you started eating healthy. It's like that's what you want to do. So it's not
right. You crave those things.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I know if I miss too many days in a row without exercising, I'm like, I gotta exercise.
That's right.
Crazy.
Yeah. And that's the way I feel as well. Right. So you gotta keep it moving. So yes, you can't, I don't think there's ever an arrival, but what you have to do is just decide, I'm not going to live the way I was anymore. Right. This is my new way of living. And it's so much better. That's what people miss, right? I think with all this, they think, I just don't want to climb that hill because they don't think the reward is worth it on the other side, right?
Yeah. But we'll unpack that a little bit. Maybe you were, but like, what was it? Just like a really quick, like before versus now. Like, how could you describe that to someone who was in your shoe right now? They were in your before shoes, right? Like, how would you describe that to them?
Right. The before guy, okay, thinks that snoring at night is just okay, right? Mm-hmm. I wish I didn't have to, but I know it annoys my wife, and maybe I'll just sleep in the other bedroom, or I'll sleep on the couch. You know what I'm saying? But that's just okay, right? Where you don't realize is not only is it bothering your wife? And not only is it messing with your sleep, but because you're not sleeping well, you're missing out on how much more energy you would have the next day if you did, right? And
Yeah.
so, and that energy that just from that, the energy that you lost, you don't work as well, you can't work as long, you're not as sharp, and you think you are, okay? Because this
Because
is just the way
you don't know any different.
this is the way you always feel.
Yeah.
But once you see from the other side, you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I stayed in that shape,
Right.
right? I mean, it extends to everything. It extends to sex. It extends to everything. It's so much better than you know.
I want you to unpack this, but I don't think we have time.
Don't unpack that. But I'm saying it's just better than you know because you're not there, right? When we play tennis, okay, and you can play a third set,
Yeah.
and you feel great afterwards, and you don't, and it's just like because you can, and other people that can't play at all, or they're, you know, um, you know, they can't run a mile, and the joys of being able to just run a few miles and feel great about that is
Yeah.
not. It's so much better than being fat,
Yeah.
and it's really hard to describe that to somebody who's in that shape because I've been there.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. So there are a lot more benefits than you realized, I guess.
Yes. Yeah.
That happened.
Yeah.
That's cool. All right. So what advice would you give to someone in who's in that?
Let's say the first thing I do is stop lying to yourself, right? There's nobody else in the room but you. Okay. It doesn't matter what anybody else wants you to do or thinks you should do. Really deep down, okay?
Mm-hmm.
The man in the mirror is telling you what you need to know, right?
Okay.
So deep down, you know what to do. And second of all, get the work done. Do the work, right? You don't have to choose the same plan that I'm on. There's lots of ways to do that, but research it and do it. And I would say, this is something that I would tell anybody. Everybody always says, hit the gym. I would tell yourself, don't join a gym, okay? Prove to yourself that you will do the work before you go spend the money. Spending the money on a membership is the easy part, right?
Yeah.
It's easy to go sign up, okay? Before you do it, spend 30 days every morning working out at home. That means you're going for a run one day. Next day, you're doing 50 push-ups and 50 sit-ups, right? The next day, you're doing lunges, or you're doing burpees, or jumping rope, or pull-ups. You set a regimen and you follow it every day, a routine for 30 days, and prove to yourself you mean it. All right. Then go spend the money.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what the quote that comes to mind is what you can't outrun a bad diet.
You can't. There's no way to, right? Yeah. You cannot.
You gotta dial the diet in with some exercise, but you don't have to. It doesn't have to look like a big fancy gym membership.
It does not. Yeah. That's actually the diet is 80% and exercise is 20%.
Yeah. One thing I didn't ask, and we're gonna wrap up here, but one thing I wanted to circle back around is it seems today diets, in general, are focused a lot around protein. Did you have a protein strategy, or was that?
Like I said, I love protein. I eat a lot of protein. My protein strategy is I get as close to a is it a gram per pound of body weight as I can. But I don't always get there, right? But I eat a lot of protein. But I'm fairly indiscriminate. I try to eat lean proteins. But I don't always get that high of protein, but I eat a lot of it. I would recommend everybody eat protein and not, junky carbs.
No junky carbs. Hit your protein. Right. All right. Well, Larry, thank you so much for coming on Made to Matter, the extraordinary story episode. And, we'll be excited to get this out to the audience. And, my hope is that your story and how we broke it down, how you broke it down with your advice, very practical advice. I guarantee someone's life is going to change. I hope it's a ton of lives. But what a wonderful, extraordinary story, and thank you so much for sharing.
Thanks, Adam. Appreciate having me on.
You bet.
All right.
All right.